We all fell for the trap. The truth about content addiction, let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat in silence? With nothing in your hands, no screen in front of you, no song playing in your ears, no video in the background, just silence, no distractions. Just you, alone with your mind. If your answer is, I don't remember, or if even the thought makes you uncomfortable, then this video is for you, because we all fell for the trap. And the trap is so much bigger than we think. I'm not here to give you a guilt trip. I'm not going to tell you to delete your apps, throw your phone in a lake, or go live in the woods. I'm here to do something much harder, to challenge you to think about the subtle, invisible prison we've built for ourselves, a prison made not of walls, but of endless scrolls, autoplay algorithms, and dopamine loops that feed our hunger for stimulation while starving our soul of depth. We are living in the most connected era in human history, but we feel more disconnected than ever. Why? Because what we consume is shaping what we become. And the internet, the greatest tool ever invented for sharing knowledge, is now overwhelmingly designed not to liberate our minds, but to hijack them. We are not the users. We are being used. Think about it. When we open our phones, we aren't just choosing what to watch or read, we're choosing how we spend our lives. Every click is a vote for the kind of person we're becoming. Every scroll is time we will never get back. But content addiction is not just about time, it's about attention. And attention is the currency of consciousness. When your attention is fragmented, your life becomes fragmented. You start to feel like you're always busy, but never really doing anything. You're always consuming, but rarely creating. Always stimulated, but never satisfied. And that's the trap. That's the genius of it. Because when you're always distracted, you never ask the deeper questions. You never confront the silence. You never meet yourself. Why is that so terrifying? Why do we avoid silence like it's dangerous? Could it be that deep down, we're afraid of what we might find there? Have you ever wondered, what if the real reason we crave constant stimulation isn't boredom but fear? Fear of our own thoughts. Fear that what we're running from is not the world but ourselves. I want to tell you a story. Imagine a person waking up each day, and before they even speak a word, before they stretch or breathe deeply, they reach for their phone. Instantly, the outer world floods into their inner space. Notifications, messages, news, noise. That person is no longer starting the day, they're reacting to it. They are not living, they are being lived. Now imagine that same person does this every day, for weeks, months, years. What happens to a mind that never rests? What happens to a spirit that never sits still? What happens to a life that is never truly lived from the inside out, but always from the outside in?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
We all know the answer, but we don't like to say it out loud, because it means we've been complicit in our own sedation. We've outsourced our thinking to algorithms. We've traded our presence for distraction. We've allowed ourselves to be entertained to death. And here's the kicker, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. You see, content addiction isn't just about TikTok dances or YouTube rabbit holes. It's about something deeper. It's about the way we've been trained, conditioned to fear stillness, to mistake stimulation for meaning, to confuse information with wisdom. We chase novelty, but avoid depth. We consume more than ever, but understand less than ever. And the irony, we do it in the name of staying informed, being productive, keeping up. But what are we really keeping up with? A world that never stops moving. A machine that profits from our every click. Or maybe a version of ourselves we think we're supposed to be, but never actually become. Here's a hard question. When was the last time you watched something that changed you? Not just entertained you, not just distracted you, but transformed the way you see the world. And if that's rare, Shouldn't we be more intentional with what we allow into our minds? Let me be real with you. I've made content that got millions of views. I've played the game. I've studied the hooks, the thumbnails, the titles, the algorithms. I know what keeps people watching, but I also know what it costs. Because every second we spend watching someone else live is a second we don't spend living ourselves. This isn't about guilt. This is about awareness. It's about reclaiming your attention, your time, your soul. Because the truth is, you are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not addicted because you're weak. You're addicted because the system is designed that way. But you don't have to stay in the trap. You can break free, not by deleting everything overnight, but by remembering who you are, by asking better questions, by learning to sit in the silence without fear. Because in that stillness, something incredible happens. You begin to hear your own voice again. You begin to remember what matters. So I'll leave you with this question for now. If you had no phone, no screen, no one to impress, and all the time in the world, what would you do with your mind? The illusion of choice, how the algorithm became our God. We like to believe we're in control. That every tap, every click, every decision we make online is ours. That we're the masters of our digital universe. But what if I told you that the very feeling of control is the illusion? That the algorithm, the invisible hand behind every feed, every recommendation, every piece of content you consume has quietly become the God we unknowingly worship. Not a God of love or wisdom, but of engagement. A God that feeds not on prayers, but on your attention. Not on your devotion, but your data. Let's start with a simple observation. When you scroll through your favorite app, everything feels tailored to you. Your interests, your humor, your political views, your outrage, your fears, it all appears like magic. But that magic is manufactured. It's a mirror polished by trillions of data points reflecting not who you truly are, but who you've been trained to become. And here's the twist. The algorithm doesn't care who you are. It only cares how long you stay. We are not choosing what to consume. We are being chosen. Chosen by lines of code optimized to exploit our psychological vulnerabilities. Think about that. Every time you pause on a post, every time you hesitate before scrolling, every time your eye lingers just a little too long, that's recorded, measured, fed back into a machine more intelligent than any being in history, but with no soul, no ethics, no dreams. Just one purpose: to keep your eyes glued. This is where the illusion of choice becomes dangerous. Because when we believe we're in control, we stop questioning. We stop wondering why we feel the way we do after hours of scrolling. We stop noticing the subtle ways our opinions shift, our emotions spiral, our sense of reality warps. The algorithm doesn't just know what you like, it shapes what you like. It doesn't just respond to your preferences, it creates them. Here's a dark thought. If a God is defined as the entity that shapes your worldview, defines your values, and controls your time, then the algorithm fits the bill more than any deity humanity has ever known. It answers your questions before you ask them. It decides what's important, what's trending, and what's worth your outrage. It knows your secrets better than your best friend. And you never voted for it. You never asked for it. You never even saw it. But what happens when billions of people surrender their attention to invisible systems designed not for truth, not for beauty, not for growth, but for engagement? We get a world optimized for outrage, for division, for distraction. We get surface over depth, noise over signal, ego over empathy. We get a species addicted to content, but starved of meaning. Have you noticed how hard it is to focus now? To read a book, to have a long conversation, to sit with a single thought and follow it to its end. That's not a personal failure. That's the result of a system that profits from your fragmentation. The more scattered your mind, the more content you consume. The more content you consume, the more data they collect. The more data they collect, the better they become at keeping you hooked. It's not a glitch. It's the design. So what do? Do we rage against the machine? Do we unplug, go off-grid, and build cabins in the woods? Maybe, but most of us won't. Most of us can't. We live in this world. We work in it. We connect through it. So the answer isn't escape. The answer is awareness. You don't need to delete your apps to take back your mind. You need to stop worshiping the feed. You need to start asking the deeper questions. Why am I seeing this? Who benefits from my reaction? Is this shaping me or distracting me? Is this making me more of who I want to be or less? Here's a question that haunts me. If the algorithm had a soul, what would it look like? Would it be a mirror endlessly reflecting our cravings and fears? Or a monster growing stronger with every click, every moment of our unconscious attention? And if it is a god, then what are we sacrificing at its altar? You see, we fell for the trap because it didn't look like a trap. It looked like entertainment. It looked like connection. It looked like choice. But real freedom isn't just the ability to know why you're choosing. The death of stillness, why we fear the present moment. There was a time not long ago when silence was considered sacred, when stillness wasn't something to be avoided but something to be sought. A walk alone in the woods, a quiet morning before the world woke up, a long gaze into the night sky. These were the moments where people met themselves, where the soul whispered, where intuition stirred, where clarity emerged. But we've lost that. We've buried stillness under a mountain of noise. We no longer sit with the moment, we run from it. And yet, strangely, it's in the moment that everything we're searching for can finally be found. Why do we fear the present so much? Why do we feel the need to fill every pause with something external? Why does silence feel like suffocation instead of liberation? The truth is, we've been conditioned to equate stimulation with life. We've been trained to believe that if something isn't happening, we're missing out. That if we're not consuming, we're wasting time. But what if the opposite is true? What if the endless chase is the very thing keeping us from what matters? Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in complete stillness, no phone, no music, no distractions, and simply existed? Most people can't go more than a few minutes without reaching for something. And it's not because we're weak. It's because we've been rewired. Dopamine no longer comes from deep fulfillment. It comes from the next notification, the next update, the next hit. We've outsourced our sense of presence to machines. Stillness has become so rare that when we encounter it, we mistake it for discomfort. But that discomfort is actually the doorway to truth. It's the signal that something real is trying to surface, something deeper than the noise, more ancient than the algorithm. Your own awareness, your own being, the presence that cannot be found in any feed, but only in the now. Philosophers have spoken of this for centuries. Lao Tzu called it the Tao. Eckhart Tolle calls it the now. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within. It's not new. It's not secret, but it is forgotten. Because in a world that profits from your distraction, presence is an act of rebellion. We've built a life where we're always anticipating the next thing, the next video, the next post, the next answer. But the richness of life isn't in what's next, it's in what's now. It's in the breath you're taking right now, the sensations in your body, the thoughts passing like clouds, the awareness that's silently watching it all. But here's the tragedy. We're so used to being distracted that when we finally get a moment of peace, we panic, we feel empty. But that emptiness isn't a void, it's a space waiting to be filled, not with more content, but with clarity, with reflection, with being. Imagine a world where people valued stillness as much as stimulation, where silence was revered, not feared, where children were taught how to listen to their own thoughts, not just swipe them away. What kind of humans would we become? What kind of world would we create? You see, content addiction doesn't just rob us of time, it robs us of depth. It flattens our inner world. It makes us tourists in our own consciousness, hopping from one distraction to another, never staying long enough to know who we are. And that's the real danger. Because when you don't know who you are, you become whatever the world tells you to be. So the next time you feel the itch to check your phone, to escape the moment, pause. Just pause. Feel the breath in your lungs, the heartbeat in your chest, the hum of life that's always been there, waiting to be noticed. That's not boring. That's not a waste. That's reality. And reality is more beautiful than anything an algorithm can show you. Let me ask you this. What are you really afraid of when you turn everything off? What part of you are you avoiding? And what might happen if, just for a moment, you stopped running and simply listened? Reclaiming the mind, how to break the loop and become whole again. So here we are, aware of the trap, conscious of the illusion, and face to face with the stillness we've been avoiding. But awareness alone isn't enough. Awareness is the beginning, not the end. If we stop here, we've only diagnosed the disease. The real challenge is reclaiming the mind, not by waging war on technology, but by remembering that we were never meant to be slaves to it. Because your mind is not a passive receiver of content. It's a tool, a gateway, a sacred instrument capable of transformation, creativity, and profound insight. The question is, will we use it or continue to be used by it? Breaking the loop isn't about deleting every app or shaming ourselves for being human. It's about becoming conscious of the loop, seeing it clearly for what it is. It's about reclaiming the ability to choose, not react, to create, not consume, to think deeply, not just scroll endlessly. And that begins with a single radical act: attention. The kind of attention that is intentional, deliberate, and sacred. When you take back your attention, you take back your life. Let's be honest, this journey isn't easy. The loop is seductive. It feels good at first. It masquerades as rest, as connection, as fun. But deep down, we know it leaves us emptier than before. So we keep coming back, hoping the next video, the next post, the next laugh will finally fill the void. But the void is not out there. It's within. And it cannot be filled, it can only be faced. Reclaiming your mind means slowing down. It means practicing stillness, even when everything inside you screams to keep moving. It means sitting with discomfort long enough to see what it's trying to teach you. It means learning to observe your thoughts instead of being ruled by them. It means creating space for boredom, because boredom is the birthplace of insight. Some of the greatest ideas in history were born in moments of silence, not scrolling. It also means reconnecting with what is real, the physical world, the people around you, your breath, your senses, your body. These are not distractions from the digital world, they are the antidote to it. They are the doorway back to presence, back to self, back to life. And most of all, reclaiming your mind means remembering your power. You are not a passive consumer. You are not a puppet of algorithms. You are not just a user, you are a being, a consciousness, a soul. Your thoughts are not just inputs, they are seeds. What you feed your mind grows. So feed it wisely. Feed it beauty, depth, curiosity, truth. Feed it silence. Feed it questions that don't have easy answers. Ask yourself, what kind of mind do I want to have? A reactive one, constantly triggered by the world, or a reflective one, capable of seeing beyond the surface? What kind of life do I want to live? One shaped by algorithms, or one shaped by intention? None of this is about perfection. You'll fall back into the loop. We all do. But now you'll know it. You'll feel it. And that knowing is powerful. Because once you see the trap, you can't unsee it. You can step out again and again. You can choose to pause, to breathe, to ask, is this serving me? Is this who I want to be? The truth is, we fell for the trap because it was easy. Reclaiming ourselves will be hard. but it will also be the most meaningful thing we ever do. Because on the other side of content addiction isn't withdrawal, it's liberation. It's presence. It's clarity. It's the rediscovery of a mind that was never broken, only buried. So I leave you with this. Who are you without the noise? Who are you when no one is watching? When nothing is trending? When the screen goes dark? Find that person. Return to them. Because they are the only one who was ever real. And that is how we begin again.